also, this is a famous story. Like when I wanted to start each, I reached out to a lot of prominent people, including Sanjay sir. And Sanjay sir was one of the first person to respond to those emails. And his support has continued since after that also. So thank you so much, Sanjay sir, for joining in.
My pleasure.
This particular Fireside Chat is part of Vyapar Jagat's uh, awards series that they are planning. And so the idea is to that, we could do interesting master classes with prominent speakers and we have an interesting momentum build. At the same time, it creates interesting knowledge base also. So thank you so much, everyone. The particular theme for today's session is advertising and branding for startups. So the format would be, I'll start with some basic questions, Sanjay sir, and idea is to make it a little more interactive. So some of you would be live on Zoom and some of you would be watching our social media. So in case if you have any questions, you can ask in the chat or towards the second half of the session, we'll allow some of you to speak up and ask your question to Sanjay sir. So with this, thank you so much again, everyone. And thank you so much, Sanjay sir, again.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
So Sanjay sir, the first thing first, how are you? How are you?
Yeah, so far so good by God's grace, and I wish everyone is safe, healthy, and doing good.
Yeah. And if you can tell us a little bit about your background, we'll
Oh
just
my
get
God,
started.
it's the most difficult task. I'm still answering this question. I used to give this answer during interviews, right? When you go and ask for a job. Okay, fine. I have been in the corporate world for last 27 years, and in which my majority of the portion of my career, my professional career was into advertising and branding. And I was fortunate enough to work on various brands, and also fortunate enough to work with the tough entrepreneurs of Gujarat. So that is what shortly I can tell about myself. And interacting with people, interacting with startup is my passion, and I love to do that. And I could very well say that I'm not a baba, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a magician who can do a lot of magic and tell you that this should be done. But yes, I can definitely share few of my experiences from my professional career.
Awesome. And I'll just add on to that. I wanted Sanjay sir to start something and then I'll pitch in with my thoughts on that. So Sanjay sir is one of the most prominent, communications personality in Gujarat and nationally also. And he has a lot of startups. So probably those manufacturing SMEs can be called startup 10, 15 years back. And he has played a big role in building them as a brand. And now he is consulting a lot of early stage startup founders also. So we'll keep our discussion on his experiences and insights from working with those brands which became bigger company, and also his insights on startup uh, also. So Sanjay sir, if you can tell one or two examples of some of those which are big brands, but they were a startup 10, 20 years back.
Mhm.
So any examples you can share, and what was their thought process, how you worked with them, and how they become a bigger brands.
Yeah, I should tell you few things. You know what? Basically, see, they may be big, but they are still craving to be bigger in this market. But the only thing is that I would love to share with my startups that whenever you start, few things you should remember, that you should not be in love with your own product, right? The first thing is that you should be in love with your consumers. Many a times when I meet a lot of startups, they are totally in love with their idea, totally in love with their product. They may or may not have been met the consumer at all. Many a times when they have spent some 6 months, 7 months on the project, they have still not met the consumers. So my only advice and the underlying advice in the entire session, I will tell you that you should be more closer to the consumer, to the customers who are going to buy that. You may have a great idea, but that great idea might not be of any sense to a customer or a consumer you're trying to sell. That is first important thing which you should remember, that more and more you understand them. And I tell you, this consumer or the customer surprises you every time. It is not necessary that this month when I go there and meet him and he will be the same in the next month. So they keep on surprising me. And the best example which I can give you is on the movie fraternity or a movie industry, where a same director, same artist, they play in the second movie fails and the first movie hits. So this consumer will surprise you, but more and more you understand this consumer, you will be more and more successful in addressing their need. And there are a lot of time, there are thin line. What they say and what they mean are entirely different. For example, if I ask you what is bad, I often give this example कि what is bad in Dettol. So majority of them will say कि उसमें पंजेंसी बहुत आती है, जलता बहुत है. So I may be a very smart guy taking 80% of the research outputs that sir कि इसमें जलता बहुत है और बदबू बहुत आती है, तो I should go and come out with a product जो जलता भी नहीं है और खुशबू आती है. Now he takes the same product to the same consumer and tells him कि now you apply this. So the consumer very interestingly, very surprising says कि जलता नहीं है तो काम नहीं करता है. So so what I wanted to say that there is something you have to very well understand that there is something between lines which is to be taken care of. So this is what, and the brands which have grown have been very closer to such consumers. And I'll give you an example. Few years back, we were working on a real estate project which was trying to sell bungalows of 2.5 crores. And the next month, we got an assignment which was for an affordable housing, which was sold in 6 lakhs rupees or 7 lakh rupees. Now, if I am very much confident कि हम तो real estate में काम कर चुके हैं, you may miserably fail because selling to a person bungalow and selling to an affordable housing जिसके 7 लाख में भी 2.5 लाख का प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना का मिलता है. So sitting in the conference room or sitting in the AC room, you think कि you will be able to make some ads of real estate and sell them. No. So what we did, we went for 4 Sundays to chai ka gallas, to pan ka gallas, to auto rickshaw wala, and tried to find out what type of people will buy such a flat. And we realized that these are the people who go out, both husband and wife out to work. They are maybe caretakers, they may be rickshaw walas, or they may be pan walas. So what is their aspiration? My aspiration of buying a flat may be entirely different than his aspiration or their aspiration. You have to go there, meet them, find out, and we crafted communication according to their need, and then it becomes successful. Otherwise, if you are into your old laurels ki yaar humne to real estate ka kaam kar liya and we know everything about it. No, so when we went there, we came out with beautiful insights that what type of people buy this, why would they buy this, and what is the aspiration or what is the important thing will they consider while buying this. So that can only be known when you go and do not those researches कि आपने Google file बना दिया और research कर लिया. नहीं, you have to go there and meet them, find out, be friendly with them, and then you will realize that there are a lot of insights which are available. So my advice will be that more you are there, you may come out with a lot of new things when you meet them.
Correct.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Friends, in case if you have any question, you can ask in the chat. I'll keep on asking questions to Sanjay sir. So Sanjay sir, you in last 3-4 years you mentored a lot of startups. So what are the mistakes they end up making, or what are the myths they have about advertising and branding?
Yeah, see, as I told you that again, I'm telling you that they're in love with their product and not consumer. They have to understand the thin line, and they don't understand that advertising is important. They think when I grow big, I'll advertise. But basically, we should understand what is advertising. Advertising is nothing but communication. So I need to communicate about my product. I need to communicate about my concept. I need to communicate with my innovation which I have got. If I don't communicate about it, how will it sell? You heard about a Lal Darwaja as a place called Lal Darwaja. If you go to Lal Darwaja, there are shirts which are sold in 50 rupees in a thela. Okay, so there will be a person who will be standing on the thela and shouting 50 rupiya, 50 rupiya, 50 rupiya, right? So if you are a buyer of 50 rupiya ka shirt, your first attention will go to that guy who is standing on the thela, because you are attracted towards that guy. He's talking to you and he's communicating, he's advertising. He has no budgets, but he has that the personal communication there. So if you're a buyer, you'll first go there. So I was going through a example on YouTube, and I realized that somebody was telling me in Delhi there is a sales guy who is in a Connaught Place. If you go there, he shouts ki gira 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 gira, price gira, right? So he's saying that he's communicating in interesting ways, building a story in this, and he's trying to communicate. So my startups forget that they need to communicate. And secondly, I am not saying communication means only advertising on print media or television or something like that, because you won't have budgets when you start. So at least you should start with your visiting card. You should start with with the presentation which is there, which has to be properly done at a tactical level, at an immediate level. But at a longer run, you have to think what you want your consumer to perceive about you. That's called branding. So branding is actually image. You have to create an image, you have to create a perception. So first, it's a vision. So you have to think, take your pen and paper and think, what do you want to be perceived as? Once you've decided that I want to be perceived as the most intelligent person in this world, then you start behaving like intelligent guys. Otherwise, the perception will never be built. So those are the mistakes which usually my startup friends do, that ये जो advertising है, ये communication जो है, सर हम बाद में करेंगे. But they forget it starts from the day one. So if I call a startup and I'm an investor, and the person who is a startup is responds me ki kaun su kaam hatu, so I may lose that this person is not a reliable guy to be spoken to. So these are the smaller things. At a tactical level, at an initial level, they should start with at least their presentation, visiting card, their own presentation, because it has to be so convincing. It has to be having such a story that the investor gets convinced, or the partners who want to be with him get convinced towards him. So
Correct.
that is my advice to them.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. Sir, you very well mentioned that you should talk to your consumers. So sometimes what happens, two things: either people don't talk to the consumers, or they don't ask the right questions to her. They say that we've spoken to consumers, but they would have asked a very wrong question. They would have come up with the wrong insights from that interaction. So according to you,
Yeah,
what startups should do so that they get better at this particular?
yeah. See, startup should first decide that he has to do an homework. Every question which he asks, he has to have an objective of that. वो हम गूगल फॉर्म भरते हैं तो गूगल फॉर्म में 20-25 क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे होते हैं, राइट? सो देर आर सर्टन क्वेश्चन which they will never answer correctly. Like if you ask an MHI, monthly household income, who says the correct monthly household income? जो अमीर है वो कम ही बताएगा, कम गरीब है वो ज्यादा बताएगा, राइट? सो if it is mattering so much, you can give a bracket ना कि भाई my earning is from 1 lakh to 2 lakh or 3 lakh to 4 lakh. But you have to find out, is there any sense of getting this information? Is there, what is the objective of that question? Prepare yourself and then go. It is not asking, it is conversating with the consumer. So asking to wo jawab dega hi nahi na, he will also be very formal. Make him comfortable. The moment you make him comfortable, the moment you will come out with a lot of insight. I'll give an example of an insight which a lot of advertising guys have done. If a girl meets a girl, what is the first thing they do? I'm asking rock guys, but if there are any girls,
Wrong
if I got any
demographic
girls
for
on the forum, they can answer me. Yeah,
Yes.
anybody can unmute and tell me. Any girl who's a participant in this program can tell me, when a girl meets a girl first thing in the morning, what is she doing, or what does she do?
Sir, probably you'll not
No,
get the answer because to
the-
get those answers in an online format becomes tricky sometimes.
okay. I'll tell you what. It is a research one. It is not my own point of view. The researcher said this. So when a girl meets a girl, she may say hi, but she's observing what the other girl is wearing. राइट? तो उसके चप्पल कौन सा नया है, हेयर स्टाइल कौन सा है, उसके कपड़े कौन से हैं. यूजुअली it has been observed that a female will definitely observe and she'll remember. And after saying hi, she will first thing ask कि हेयर कट नया बनाया आपने, कपड़े नए लिए, and she remembers. That is her nature, यार. That's an insight which comes. And people in advertising use that insight. And if you remember, long back there was an ad said, आपकी उसकी साड़ी मेरी साड़ी से सफेद कैसे, like surf. So uski sadi meri sadi se safed kaise was a detergent, selling a detergent. But they use an insight in this and said ki it makes a difference to the other lady if uski sadi meri sadi se safed hai, which doesn't happen with the guy. And a lot of advertisement, even Tanishq has done that. If you are doing better, or if you are looking better, it may affect the other female. So research have shown that. So there's an insight which comes, and people use those insights into advertising. So if you could catch hold of an insight, you may be very successful in communicating and marketing your product. So this is very important, because मैं बता रहा हूँ ना आपको कि this consumer will give you an opportunity to mold your product also the way they want it. Yeah.
Correct. There is this question, friends. In case if you have any more questions, you can ask in the comments. Parth has asked, should there be any specific percentage of the budget allocated to advertising and branding for a startup?
Yeah. For a startup, there are no budgets, right? पहली बात तो बजट ही नहीं होता है ना. परसेंटेज तो ऐसा है ना कि see, always you remember one thing, कि budget is television. People say it's expensive, print is expensive. People say that, right? But my version is that everybody in the media will say that it is not the expense, it is the number of people you want to reach. For example, if I want to reach crores in India, then the television is the most viable medium which I can use. So remember, whatever budget you have, use that very effectively. आपके पास अगर 10 रुपए है तो आपको ये ध्यान रखना चाहिए कि 10 ही लोगों तक पहुंच पाएंगे आप. आपका 100 रुपए तो 100 रुपए तक ही पहुंच पाएंगे. आपका जॉब ये है कि हाउ इफेक्टिव यू आर इन रीचिंग द राइट पीपल. 100 लोगों को तो पहुंचे आप, लेकिन 100 लोग मेरे राइट लोग नहीं थे. तो इट इज बेटर दैट यू रीच द राइट पीपल who consumes the media which you are using, and reach them, so that you are trying to create an image, or you are trying to communicate to those many people. Otherwise budget to kya, sky is the limit. Yeah, so I can spend a huge amount and I can be a popular person in a single day, but then I don't have a capacity to do so. So it depends on various things. I'm advertise and I don't have a product to sell. मेरे पास capacity नहीं है. मैंने एडवर्टीजमेंट कर दी और डिमांड बढ़ गई, आपके पास कैपेसिटी नहीं है, इट इज नॉट अवेलेबल, और आई फिक्स्ड अप ए प्राइस विच इज नॉट वायबल फॉर द कंज्यूमर टू बाय, तो मैं कितनी भी एडवर्टीजमेंट करूंगा वो काम नहीं करेगा ना. So it is better that you first understand ki is there a requirement in the market, and if there is a requirement, what type of people are going to buy, and communicate according to their insight to those people. And remember, if I have 10 rupees, I'll be able to reach only 10 rupees. By putting 10 rupees, you're expecting कि यार 100 rupees का तक पहुंच जाऊंगा मैं, it is difficult. And vice versa. 100 लगा के आप 10 तक पहुंच रहे हो तो वो भी गड़बड़ है.
Correct. And sir, one of the big pieces are about storytelling. Then how do you set a narrative about your business?
Yeah. I am coming
What are
back
your
to the
thoughts on that?
I am coming back to the same thing, right? I have told you that consumer insight will give you a good story line. So a story should have an emotional impact and the reliability or relatability. Basically, I should relate that story. So you may think people don't always think rationally. Then they are computers here. Computers think rationally, but we are not computers. We are human beings. So when we are a human being, story sells. And the story, when you are building a story, your brand story, it should be having an emotional impact, and there should be relatability. मुझे लगना चाहिए यार ये मेरी story बोल रहा है, मुझे लगना चाहिए मेरी बात कर रहा है ये, then only it will appeal ना, then only the people will look at you. Otherwise, if it is not relating to me, I am not such a person whom the story has been told, I will not relate. होता है ना बचपन हम जब story बोला करते थे, you get involved into that. You think you are a prince here, you think you are a king, and they used to tell you in such a way. Same way in brand also, the storytelling is very important because it should have an emotional impact and relatability there.
And sir, in your experience, which are the brands from Ahmedabad are doing well, or they're ticking mark on all those important aspects of building a great
every strong brand? I will not name, because if I name one, the other may get offended. so it is everyone who is doing well has definitely taken care of, because it is a question of the survival. No consumer, nobody. कोई नहीं होने वाले, मतलब पूरी दुनिया आपकी जो है business की, it may not work.
Yep. Praveen, I'll bring you in. If you can tell us a little more about this award function, so we'll plug in the award within the discussion. And what is one question that you always want to ask Sanjay sir? Yes, Praveen.
Yeah, just let me share a small video. I think it will give more idea about the convention and awards we are hosting, and then I'll add on to it.
I think you're not added the speakers now.
Now speak. Yeah.
Yes. Certainly. So, thank you so much, Jatin and sir, for joining. And very interesting, discussion is going on. So, as far as the Vyapar Jagat Convention and Awards is we are hosting. Right. So, the main focus is we are recognizing such entrepreneurs. We want to celebrate the success of the entrepreneurs and the startups. Right. And it is going to be a full day event where we are inviting people from the ministry. We are inviting a great speakers who will again have the panel discussions and the fireside chats, and a lot of people so there is something special that is called ask the expert, right? So ask the expert is a kind of sessions where anybody who is not getting the answer since long, and if suppose they want to talk to the experts, they want to talk to the mentors, so we will have set of rooms for the mentors and the experts. So let me give you one or two examples. So one is let's say someone who wants to know about the what are the MSME schemes government is having, right? So we are having one room where the people from ministry, I mean people from MSME department will be there, and they will be online, and they will answer those questions live. The same way, if suppose someone wants to go global and they want to have certain I mean they want to ask certain questions which are related to the import or export policies, or the kind of things how they can go global. So again, we will have expert who will answer those kind of questions. So that way we are making this particular convention very unique. And not only that, so we are
No, Praveen,
supporting.
I'll cut you short. So,
Yes, please.
point taken. Massive thing is coming up. What is the question you want to ask Sanjay sir about advertising and branding for your own?
Certainly. So yeah, so very far. So the one question, I think, the question is, so if suppose we want to learn about branding, right? So definitely we should look at, a lot of webinars and the sessions. But sir, do you recommend one book which is, which is specific to the branding for startups, or any channel, or any show or something like that?
No. I would always suggest ki book to okay. You should work on it, experience it. It is like swimming. I cannot teach you by reading books. You have to jump into the river and then swim. So in branding also, you have to enter into it, because I'm still learning. I don't say that I have learned everything. There are new aspects which have been learned, because the media world is dynamic and it is changing every day. So your prospect of learning will also change. So it is better that you start practicing it. You may fail, but at least you start practicing it. And मतलब ये सिंपल चीज ऐसे है कि आपको ये पता करना चाहिए, आपको ये क्लियर होना चाहिए आप लोगों को क्या परसीव करवाना चाहते हैं अपने बारे में. What is the perception you want to get created about your product or brand? If that is clear, then your path becomes very easy, because you keep doing that. You keep doing that over years, and after 10 years, people start perceiving you in the same way, perceiving your brand the way you wanted to get it perceived. If you leave it, what will happen? Everyone will perceive the way they want. So your brand may not be very strong brand in the minds of people. So the only crux is that you start doing that, and then are that tool, scientific tool of doing it, which has to be learned while you practice.
Correct. And sir,
Certainly, yeah.
So for there are a lot of startups, sometimes they have a question that, should they themselves do the branding and advertising exercise themselves, or should hire an agency?
Yeah, it is basically, it depends on how big they are and what is the budget they have. If they don't have a budget and they're a single person who's doing the startup, he has to start with his own way. Like I was telling you, that the visiting card he gives, or the presentation he makes, the presentation, what he's doing, whatever way he's trying to do it, it depends on the budget. The moment he grows big, then he can hire small boutiques. The moment he becomes bigger, then accordingly, according to his bandwidth, he can hire people. So, or hire agencies to work for him, because they are communication experts. They will tell you certain things you don't know in communication. You made a product, but those guys know how to communicate. So that is, leave it to them. Those experts are there, and leave it to them. And there is another myth in Janta, or in public or in small startups, that advertising is the most glamorous thing which they can ever do. After a whole day tiring journey of meeting people, they think advertising jo karenge, it is my creativity will come out. But actually it is a very scientific thing. It involves art, science, commerce, everything. So there is a way of doing it. So it's better that you leave it to the experts who do it, or who at least know about it. Because एडवर्टाइजिंग में सब सड़क में जाके खड़े होंगे, और आप किसी पूछेंगे ऐड कैसी लगती है, तो विल कमेंट ऑन दिस कि पीला कलर अच्छा नहीं, लाल कलर अच्छा नहीं, ये मजा नहीं आ रहा, वो नहीं मजा आ रहा है. बट द सेम गाय फास्ट कि कंप्यूटर काम नहीं कर रहा, तो विल से कंप्यूटर इंजीनियर नहीं हूं मैं. But advertising, everybody becomes an expert. So that is the most crucial thing about the world of branding and advertising.
And sir, you've seen how brands were built in early 2000s, 2010s, and now 2020. So any patterns that you observed, things were happening in a certain way, and now they're happening in a certain way, or any?
Yeah, because there was a time in 90s, the whole world used to watch 9 to 10 Ramayana. ठीक है, या महाभारत. तो वी यूज्ड टू कॉल देम रामायण ब्रांड्स. जिसने भी रामायण में एडवर्टाइजमेंट करी है, पूरा इंडिया ने देख लिया है. तो दे वर गुड ब्रांड्स व्हिच आर बिल्ड लाइक बजाज, रसना, टोपाज. दे वर द ब्रांड्स बिकॉज द एंटायर वर्ल्ड, मतलब एंटायर इंडियन कंज्यूमर सेगमेंट वो यूज्ड टू वॉच रामायण, because there was only one single Doordarshan channel which used to make this commercial, and people used to wait for the commercial to come. And then now you can say more than 2000 channels, more than 200 government channels happening. So it has become more complex where to invest your money. So if you got an X money, it becomes very difficult for you to which channel to give it, कौन से channel में कौन से time पे क्या देंगे, because you got a lot of options. So it has become more difficult to create a brand now, very, very difficult. And then there are also availability of various mediums through which you can communicate. So the challenge is that which medium has to be selected according to the consumer choice, media habit, and then invest in that. So it's not an easy task to build a brand now. It is very, very difficult. The first generation or the second generation is a built up brand, it was easy for them. But in the new generation, which they are trying to do, because the communication mediums are available to everyone. So you don't have a captive audience now. So there are a lot of mediums which are available. So and उस मीडियम में भी काफी कंपटीशन है. मैं होर्डिंग लूंगा तो काफी कंपटीशन है, मैं रेडियो लूंगा तो 50 कंपटीशन है मेरे पास. पहले ऑल इंडिया रेडियो हुआ करता था, आपने ऐड दी, चल गया, सब दुनिया वही सुन रही है. बट अभी तो 5-5 चैनल हैं, सब कुछ है, प्लस आपका मोबाइल फोन से है. So it has become very, very complex, and the job of a media planner has become complex to the core.
Correct. Friends, if you have any questions, we'll take this experiment where we can allow one or two of you to actually speak up. Any specific question that you may want to ask, here is your chance to speak up. Anyone would want to take this opportunity? Suresh, Mayank, Hardik, Francis, Yash.
May I?
Yes, please.
Yeah, please.
Sir, Parth Pathak again.
Yeah,
sir, I want to know that in terms of advertising, how important is to be present on all the media which is available compared to being present on only few of the medium?
Very good question. Very good question. I was coming to that
Thank you, sir.
point also. See, whenever you have got an X budget, you need to find out what is the media habit of your consumer or the target audience. So if you find that my target audience watches television and I got a limited budget and I want to reach in this fashion, then you spend on television, because it is very difficult for you to get accommodated to all the mediums. Having said this, I will also tell you that each medium is complementary to each other. They are not substitute to each other. For example, मैंने television में ले लिया तो मेरा काम हो गया और मैं print में ले लूंगा तो चलेगा. No, television is its own role, because television में मैं ये नहीं बता सकता हूँ कि dealers कहाँ पे हैं, मतलब आपका प्रोडक्ट कहाँ कहाँ अवेलेबल है, जो कि प्रिंट में आप कर सकते हैं. प्रिंट में इट्स अ सिंगल फ्रेम, it has its own demerit, but at least you can tell I can focus only in Ahmedabad. Television, the moment I put it, it goes beyond that. So you have to find out from your research or from your media consultants or your media planner that what is that medium which has been consumed most by your target group, and you need to effectively use those budget there. Otherwise, what will happen? You spread in everything, but you don't reach anywhere. So if you have 100 rupees and you divide it into 10 mediums, and you realize that 10 रुपया सबको दे दिया है, लेकिन काम कुछ नहीं कर रहा है. Instead of that, you create an impact to a medium which has been consumed by your media, by your target audience maximum, and you use that. So there the science gets involved. So there the media planner starts applying his knowledge through seeing the data, what type of consumer you're targeting to and what is the media which they're consuming, what are the touch points they can be catched or targeted, and then they communicate to them.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for the insightful answer, sir.
We'll take 2-3 more questions. Ankit, you have asked, but can you speak up? And you can give more context to it.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. I would like to know that which content is more effective, like the text or video or images.
No, it is
when we are putting on the.
Ankit, can you give more context? Yes, sir. You can respond to that.
No, I think he's asking which content is more important, whether written or audiovisual. Obviously, audiovisual will be more impactful. Audiovisual में आप बात करते हो तो सब कुछ clear हो जाता है ना. You are seeing it also and you are reading it also. So obviously, that's why the technology is enhanced. तभी तो video जो आपका YouTube से popular हो रहे हैं.
So and how much content I can put on social media per month? That is there any specific number, any ideal number that?
No. It depends on what category you are there. For example, it's a new category which nobody has seen. You can get away by not giving much frequency also. The moment you are competing with a brand or a product category which has got heavy clutter in the market, then you have to decide accordingly how much you have to speak, what is the frequency you need to put, and which all medium you need to take. होता है ना, जैसे हेयर केयर का ब्रांड है, सर का तेल है आपका, तो उसमें 50 लोग ऐड कर रहे होंगे, तो आपको फिर फ्रीक्वेंसी बढ़ानी पड़ेगी आपकी, बता लोगों तक पहुंचने के लिए, बिकॉज अदरवाइज यू लॉस्ट इन द क्लटर, दिखेगा भी नहीं आपको. और या तो फिर आपको ऐसा इनोवेशन लाना पड़ेगा कि लोगों को पता ही नहीं उसके बारे में, और वो आप प्रोडक्ट लेकर आओ, इट विल गेट, यू कैन गेट अवे बिकॉज अ न्यू कैटेगरी. These are not advertised categories, so you can get away by not giving much frequency also.
Right. Jigesh, can you speak up?
Yeah. Can I speak?
Yeah,
Yes.
Suresh bhai, how are you?
Was fine, sir. आप कैसे हो?
But so far so good. बोलिए बोलिए.
Yeah. So it was a pleasure now talking to you.
Oh,
Tell me, if you are a beginner in the business, right? And
हाँ
you have got limited budget.
हाँ.
So priority wise, which medium we should select, like digital, print, electronic media, or what?
No,
Like,
because it depends on your target group ना, कि आपका जो target group है वो क्या पड़ता है. For example, मैं गांव में डाल रहा हूँ, मेरे को गांव में जाना है, मुझे गांव में प्रोडक्ट करना है और वहाँ पे सोशल मीडिया है ही नहीं.
okay.
तो मैं कुछ नहीं कर सकता हूँ ना वहाँ पे. Then I may go to house to house and give leaflet to those people to
And
communicate.
I'm just talking about the like consumer product or which is
So that you have to find out who's your consumer and what is his media habit. मतलब वो
Okay.
कौन सा मीडिया कंज्यूम करता है और
Okay.
accordingly the maximum media consumption जिस प्रोडक्ट का कर रहा है, जिस मीडिया का कर रहा है, you have to be there, present there.
okay.
ठीक है. जैसे कहते हैं ना कि हम जब एडवर्टाइज करते हैं, हम
हाँ.
मेल प्रोडक्ट का कर रहे होते हैं, मेल प्रोडक्ट का, तो हम
हाँ.
न्यूज चैनल में जाते हैं क्योंकि
Sir,
it has been seen that the news channels has been more consumed by mail.
हाँ.
So
Right.
accordingly, you advertise.
तो ये बस मतलब आई वाज जस्ट वंडरिंग, क्योंकि अभी आजकल क्या है, अभी सब ऑनलाइन हो गया है सभी प्रोडक्ट का. तो थोड़ा कंफ्यूजन वो ज्यादा हो रहा है कि अभी ये ऑनलाइन के जमाने में क्या कैसे, मतलब क्योंकि लोगों के पास इतना बजट होता नहीं है.
So, Suresh bhai, now you mentioned कि आपने क्वेश्चन क्यों पूछा है कि this is the second question.
If you allow me.
अच्छा, तो आप पहला क्वेश्चन क्यों पूछा आपने? Jigesh,
I'm just taking a liberty with my friends.
no, absolutely fine. I'm just
Yeah.
थोड़ा मसाला ऐड कर रहा था. Jigesh, can you speak up?
Yes, sir. As we come up about the digital era, sir, how important positioning becomes when we are creating startup a brand?
Jigesh, आपके हिसाब से क्या? How important?
Sir, it has a very much important because to make a brand, we first have to create differentiation. But in the digital era, how much it is important according to sir?
नहीं मेरे दोस्त जिगेश, पोजिशनिंग इज नथिंग टू डू विद मीडिया. पोजिशनिंग तो होनी चाहिए ना, आप किसी मीडिया में डाल रहे हो, सोशल मीडिया हो, प्रिंट मीडिया हो, टेलीविजन मीडिया हो, कोई भी मीडिया हो. इफ यू थिंक इट्स पोजिशनिंग इज इंपॉर्टेंट, सी देयर आर टू थिंग्स व्हिच इज इंपॉर्टेंट. वन इज द मैसेज एंड सेकंड इज द मीडियम. सो आप मैसेज की बात करो, मैसेज में पोजिशनिंग आती है, तो पोजिशनिंग तो इंपॉर्टेंट है ही है. अब आप उसका मीडियम जो है आप कोई भी यूज करो दुनिया में, आप खुद भी खड़े होकर रास्ते में चिल्ला रहे होगे ना, तो भी पोजिशनिंग बहुत जरूरी है आपके प्रोडक्ट के बारे में बताने की. नथिंग टू डू विद योर सोशल मीडिया और व्हाट मीडिया है. पोजिशनिंग तो आपकी जरूरत ही है ना, अदरवाइज यू विल नॉट गेट द स्पेस इन द माइंड्स ऑफ द कंज्यूमर. मिलेगा ही नहीं आपको स्पेस.
Yes, sir.
Darshi, can you speak up?
Yeah, sure. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. So, sir, I have one question. So, most of the people are stick with some specific brand, like suppose I use Dove, right, shampoo. So, I cannot like other shampoos or other things by watching a branding or advertising. So, how can we change the client's mind or customer's mind?
Now, there are two things which you're asked. One is that you're supported a strong brand like Dove. See, they have done a branding exercise and they became a brand. And when a brand becomes big, they have got loyal customers. And the loyal customers give them recurring stream of profit. Because वो बार बार खरीदते रहते हैं ना, क्योंकि आप राइट. अब जब आप नया ब्रांड लेके आते हैं, तो इफ यू हैव नॉट क्रिएटेड ए ब्रांड और द ब्रांड जो सामने बैठा है, टू चेंज द लॉयल्टी, इट बिकम्स वेरी एक्सपेंसिव फॉर यू. आई विल गिव एन एग्जांपल. इफ देयर इज अ टी ब्रांड which is very popular and you consume it, okay, now I go to a market and I want to change the habit of a person who is consuming a X tea brand. So what I'll do, I'll come out with a competitor brand which say कि अगर आप ये चाय पत्ती लेंगे तो आपको टी सेट फ्री दूंगा मैं. Okay, so you get attracted towards that tea set and you buy that tea set, not the tea. क्योंकि आप तो चाय तो खरीद ही रहे हो, लेकिन आपने ले लिया उस महीने, तो आपने चला लिया. अगले महीने you are expecting कि again there has to be some scheme, otherwise I'll not buy. If I don't give a scheme that time, what will happen? You will get converted to your old brand. Exactly. So what the point I'm trying to make is that the changing loyalty of a brand becomes very expensive for you. So that's why it becomes more important that you should be a brand. Otherwise you will be a commodity. Anybody can take over you any day. So the moment you are a brand, you will the changing your loyalty will be very difficult, है ना? तो इसके लिए आपको मैं तो आपको वही बता रहा हूँ कि from day one you should be convinced कि I need to create a brand, I need to communicate whatever level I can, but I have to do this, and it is as important as any product development. ठीक है ना? आप हाँ
No, you continue please.
या सो फॉर एग्जांपल आप डव है, अब डव को आप चेंज करना चाहते हो और आप साबुन लेके आते हैं, तो कौन देखेगा आपके साबुन की तरह, अनलेस यू से कि एक के साथ 4 फ्री है ना. एक के साथ 4 फ्री देने के लिए आपको एक्सपेंसेस तो इनकर होंगे ना आपके, तो चेंजिंग लॉयल्टी बिकम्स वेरी एक्सपेंसिव.
Exactly.
So you come out with a positioning or a product attribute which Dove doesn't have, and you find a consumer base which want to use non-Dove products. कहीं तो कंज्यूमर इनसाइट होगा ना. ऐसा थोड़ा होता है कि आप प्रोडक्ट लेके आ गए और आप एडवर्टाइज करने लगे. आपने कोई रीजन के कारण प्रोडक्ट लाए होंगे, आपको पता होगा कि देयर इज अ मार्केट ऑफ दैट, एंड देन ओनली ब्रिंग इट. यू डोंट एडवर्टाइज एंड देन ब्रिंग द प्रोडक्ट.
Exactly, because I get these questions just because most of the people make a digital marketing for their own product, but they are still suffering for the selling their product.
Yeah, they will have. तो देयर विल बी, ऐसा तो नहीं है ना कि पूरी दुनिया में 130 करोड़ लोग जो हैं, हम लोग बैठे हैं इंडिया में, वो डवी यूज कर रहे हैं. देयर आर अदर ब्रांड्स आल्सो ना, अदर ब्रांड एवरी डे कमिंग. तो देयर हैज टू बी रीजनिंग, देयर हैज टू बी अ population which is liking your product because of an next differentiation which you are trying to give them.
Yes.
Devang, you had a similar question. Do you have any follow-up question to this, or we'll move on to the next one then? Devang. Okay. Anybody else would want to ask?
Yeah.
Yes. Last
Jatin, I would like to add something.
Please, sir.
The advantage of being small. I always say this. There is an advantage of being small. You heard our story of David and Goliath. David was a small guy and Goliath was a huge demon. But David knew where to hit. The moment he hit at the right place, focusedly, what happened was the Goliath died or Goliath fell down. So my startups also have the similar benefit. They are flexible, because they are small. They can change the way they want. अगले दिन change कर सकते हैं. They're not like huge MNCs, right? Who has a backlog or who has a load of being there, they cannot change. कोई भी डिजाइन चेंज करना पड़ेगा तो उसके लिए हायरार्की होती है, उसका चेंज होने में बहुत टाइम लगता है. Whereas a startup is flexible, he can do any time, he can move any time, any way they want it, they can do it. There's no backlog with him. So that is one very good point of a startup, because it's small. So being small becomes his advantage. He can change, he can improve the way he want it, and they have an opportunity to come out with a blue ocean strategy. I always say this blue ocean strategy is a strategy where there is no competition in the market. They come out with a new format. They can disrupt. I'll give an example, like 2020 was a blue ocean strategy. So everyone who was there for test match hote the 5 दिन के, somebody suddenly came out in the same market with 2020 year, and the rest is history. So IPL came into picture. So same way, you have a opportunity to come out with an option where the competition is yet to be built, because you're the first guy to be there. आपका market ही market है. Like Sandoz used to be for kids. वो आपका कैप्सूल आता था ना, आपका कैल्शियम कैप्सूल आते थे, तो वो सैंडोज बच्चों के लिए आते थे. तो एवरीबॉडी यूज्ड टू थिंक सैंडोज. Suddenly, to expand the market, what they did, they came out with calcium capsules for women here. So वहाँ पे तो कंपटीशन था ही नहीं ना. बाकी दुनिया क्या है, सैंडोज को बीट करने के लिए अलग अलग तरीके के प्रोडक्ट लेके आ रही थी कि आई एम मोर बेटर, बट दे केम आउट विद अ स्मार्ट blue ocean strategy, that they came out with a product which was for women. Now when they started marketing for women, the competition was yet to build, the market was empty for them. So a startup has this opportunity to do this, right? And he has to come out with certain myths like advertising तो मैं बाद में करूंगा, जब मेरे को सेल आएगी तब मैं करूंगा. वो सेल नहीं आएगी जब तक आप कम्युनिकेट नहीं करेंगे. तो आपको कम्युनिकेशन करना जरूरी है. आप अपने लेवल पे करिए. आप बिगिनर्स हैं, आपके जो टूल है कम्युनिकेशन के, जो भी टूल कर रहे हैं, आप कम्युनिकेट कर रहे हैं, वहां पे यू टू मेक योर इमेज.
And just to adding on to Sir's point, so the bigger the brand, there are very high chances they'll have very unhappy customers. So if you talk about Amazon, is known as a company which gives greater customer service, or they're obsessed with customer. But if you go to Twitter, you will find hundreds of the people not happy with Amazon, and that's why a lot of vertically, e-commerce brands are getting built. So you can identify. So if you are competing with a bigger brand, there are more avenues you will find where you can do a much better job in some areas what they are doing. So last 4 minutes of this discussion, anybody else would want to ask a question, as we are anyways towards the end of the session? Anyone would want to take up this opportunity? I'll just continue with the question that I have for Sir. So there are a lot of early stage start. So I will take some questions because there are some students who
yeah, sure, please.
watching this conversation.
Please be comfortable.
So sir, what would be your advice to students or professionals, who want to do a better at marketing or advertising as a career option?
First thing is that when they are in the end of their courses, postgraduate courses, I would advise them that they should start behaving like corporates, right? It is on the reverse end. They remain students in the corporate world for another 6 months. That is one big thing which they are having. Secondly, even if they are a student and they want to be in the market, so they should not fear away by being in sales. सबसे बड़ा होता है कि I want to be in marketing but not in sales. I want to be in marketing but back end है क्या? Marketing में जो word है ना, market is there. So how can you do a marketing without going to the market? So you have to be ready, open to be in market, and preferably be on sales. If you want to make yourself very good in advertising, branding, and marketing, take sales, because you will know how objection there is. You will interact with them. You will understand the consumer firsthand. Nobody will tell you their perception. No book can teach you that. So once you are in sales, gain that knowledge. There will be 1,000 objections which will be thrown to you by a person when you are into sales. So the moment you are there, you understand the consumer psyche, the way they speak, the way they expect, and then you start crafting the communication to them. जिससे मुझे बात करनी है, उसके बारे में मुझे जितना पता चलेगा, उतना अच्छा मैं उससे बात कर सकूंगा. इसका मतलब कि इतना अच्छा मैं एडवर्टाइज कर सकूंगा, उतना अच्छा उसके दिमाग में मैं अपना परसेप्शन क्रिएट कर पाऊंगा. लेकिन एक अनजान आदमी को बात करना, मैं आपको बोलूँ कि साउथ इंडिया में जाओ किसी गांव में और वहां पे आप एडवर्टाइजिंग करो, कैसे करोगे? अनलेस यू गो देयर एंड मीट देम. You cannot do that, na. So the first thing is that leave everything, be in the market, and get an opportunity to be in the market. Do those research, do those work here. Don't be on Google Forms. Okay, Google Form de diya hai, friend, please fill it, and then you make analysis and do it. No, you may be miserably wrong. So go there, find it out, do a conversation with them, and you will realize what type of language they use. I'll give an example. We were working on Thumbs Up many years back, and we had this 5 rupees ka bottle. And 5 rupees का bottle was launched in the market. वो 5 रुपए का छोटा bottle आता था थम्स अप का, तो वो तो जब हम अहमदाबाद में कर रहे थे एडवर्टीजमेंट, तो इट वाज सेट कि तेज द थंडर इन जस्ट रुपीस, तूफानी ठंडक इन 10 रुपए. बट व्हेन वी वेंट टू राजकोट, वी रियलाइज कि देयर इज ए ब्रांड कॉल्ड सोशियो व्हिच इज मच स्ट्रॉन्गर देन थम्स अप at that time, with due respect to both the brands. अच्छा, whatever example I am giving, please with due respect to those brands. अगर मैंने बोला कि लड़की देख के दूसरी लड़की को क्या सोचती है, it was with due respect to the females. ये तो रिसर्च में आया है, ठीक है ना. तो सेम वे I'll continue this. So when we went to Rajkot, we realized that Socio is a brand which they vouch for. वो शाम को खाना खाने के बाद सोचियो पीने चले जाते हैं. So Thumbs Up may sound like a foreign brand to them, a foreign brand to them, but we need to communicate to them in the language they understand. So the copywriter wrote a very nice line, said, "Bapu, gajab thayu. Have Thumbs Up rupiya 5 ma." So when you say Bapu gajab thayu, it is a language, the slang which a Rajkot person may do. So you have to change accordingly because you knew that slang there. You have met those people there and you understood what type of language they use, and then you communicate into that language. And this benefit a startup will have because he is there in the market.
Right. And so the last part. So sometimes what happens, there are businesses, they identified a problem, they are smart enough, so they build a business for 2-3 years, and then they attend such seminars, and then they realize, okay, branding and advertising is very important. So they understand most of the things, but subconsciously they would have followed certain things. How can those kind of people get better at branding, advertising?
No, see, I'm telling you, the moment you bring little large, you start getting experts. It's a communication partners. It is not an agency or a supplier who will give you good designs. They have to understand the communication. If I'm talking to masses, then my communication has to be like masses. I like Audi or BMW में घूमता हूँ मैं, तो my everything has to be niche. But your consumer doesn't need niche one, na? They are mass oriented. They don't understand that. So if you're selling a mass product, then there is a science that you have to show more of visuals and less of text. So that science has to be told to you by, or has to be adapted by your agency. So agencies are not people who make good designs. Agencies are people who are your communication partners. So like you have a factory partner who's taking care of production, same way your communication partner will take care of production. But how many people think them as partners? Right? And whenever you are evaluating a creative output, don't be subjective. Mane lal rang nathi gamtu or hera rang nathi gamtu. You have to give me a reason for that, or you have to give a reason to the agency why it is not gamtu. or why you don't liking it. So otherwise तो it is endless ना, colors तो कितने सारे हैं, तो आप color use करते रहेंगे, आपको खत्म हो जाएगा सब कुछ.
Thank you so much, sir. And sir, how can startup reach out to you?
Oh, they can.
And
I am on Facebook.
How they can better reach out to you? Like,
I am on Facebook, and you can take my email ID where you can reach me. It's info@skc.com. Info@skc. You can very well say, or you can go to Sanjay Chakraborty Facebook and you can write to me, and I am available there, and I love to interact with them professionally. Inverted commas.
Yes, that is important. And Praveen has the information. So Praveen, all the people who registered, in case they want to reach out to sir, you can share this information with them.
Sure.
With this, thank you so much, everyone. Praveen, any closing remarks from your side?
No, so first from my side, I would like to thank Sanjay sir and Jatin, both of you, to join and make this interesting session. Thank you so much, and thank you all the participants for joining and taking out of your time. Thank you so much.
Okay. My pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Take care.